The war in the Middle East is expanding, and today Iran has publicly declared war on Ukraine and warned of attacks across the entire country. The chairman of the Iranian Parliament's National Security Committee, Ibrahim Azizi, stated today that Iran will begin launching missile strikes on Ukraine if it continues to provide military assistance to Israel and the Persian Gulf countries, in particular supplying interceptor drones. He noted that any support by Kyiv for Israel makes Ukrainian territory a legitimate and justified target for strikes from Iran. The cynicism of this situation is heightened by the fact that Iran has already been helping Russia attack Ukraine with drones and missiles for 4 years, and Iranian military instructors launched the first Shaheds against Ukraine. But in this episode, we will touch on another topic that shows Ukraine is gaining new allies and the world is finally splitting into two axes. In one of them, Russia and Iran have crystallized, and they are doing everything they can to save each other. My name is Alexei Pechi. Let's discuss this topic together. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to this channel, give it a like, and leave any comment under this episode. And also subscribe to my Telegram channel, Peachy News. The link is in the description of this video. There we publish breaking news as it comes in. So Iran will start launching missile strikes on Ukraine if Ukraine continues to provide military assistance to Israel, in particular by supplying interceptor drones. This was stated by the chairman of the Iranian Parliament's National Security Commission, Ibrahim Azizi, in an interview with Iran International. He noted that any support by Kyiv for Israel makes Ukrainian territory a legitimate and justified target for Tehran's attacks. I would like to note here that today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sent a request to Ukraine to hold talks with Volodymyr Zelensky to discuss issues of countering Iranian drones. The publication Ynet notes that the Israeli request came against the backdrop of Ukraine's extensive experience in intercepting Iranian-made drones, which is why Netanyahu intends to support Israeli-Ukrainian cooperation on this issue. And what's important, the ambassador of Ukraine in Israel, Yevgen Kornichuk, has already confirmed that yes, indeed, Netanyahu has sent such a request for negotiations, and these negotiations will take place in the near future. So, Netanyahu admits that the Americans are not exactly helpful in this matter and that it's necessary to work with Ukraine. On the other hand, Ukraine has indeed intensified its cooperation with Middle Eastern countries, primarily those of the Persian Gulf, in the area of countering Iranian drones. On March 8th, the president of Ukraine, Prime Minister Zelensky, reported that Ukrainian experts, along with interceptor drones, had already been sent to Jordan to protect American bases. According to him, a total of 11 countries have made official requests for assistance, including a Middle Eastern state as well as the US and some European capitals. According to the Wall Street Journal, among the countries that have expressed a desire to start defense cooperation with Ukraine is the Saudi Arabia. As of March 14th, more than 10 Middle Eastern states have already approached Ukraine with a request to help fight against Iranian Shahed drones. Ukrainian companies have reportedly already started supplying interceptor drones to some countries. The list currently includes Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. At the same time, Iran itself has been helping Russia for a long time. In the war against Ukraine, Tehran, in particular, has supplied Moscow with thousands of Shahed attack drones, as well as technology for their production on Russian territory. Iranian operators trained Russian military personnel to use these drones and participated in the first attacks on Ukrainian cities. In addition, according to the Ukrainian president, Iran has supplied Russia with about 150,000 artillery shells and missiles. Iranians are allies of Russia both on paper and in real actions. But an attentive viewer might have some doubts. You might say, listen, the distance between Ukraine and Iran on the map is huge and not many missiles can reach Ukraine. And most likely they would be intercepted long before reaching the country. Well, so let's try to figure this out a bit. There are about 2,300 kilometers between Kyiv and Tehran. in a straight line, while from the northwestern borders of Iran to the south of Ukraine it's just over 1,000 kilometers. But despite such a distance, some Iranian missiles can reach Ukrainian cities. The range of some of these missiles is estimated at 2,000 kilometers or more. So Ukraine could really come under attack. Well, for example, the Khorramshahr missile, or its fourth generation K-bar, can fly up to 2,000 kilometers. Sejil is another heavy two-stage long-range missile that has reached up to 2,500 kilometers. There is also another missile, Shahab-3. Its range is over 1,300 kilometers, but it also has improved versions that can fly farther. In particular, the Ghadar, which can fly a distance of 2,000 kilometers. Iran also has the Emad missile in service, which is capable of striking targets at 1,800 kilometers. Accordingly, all these missiles, they can easily reach Eastern Europe, but unfortunately Iran's capabilities are not limited to these long-range missiles. In addition to long-range missiles, certain versions of the Shahed, Arash and Mohajer drones can also fly up to 2,000 kilometers. But there's one very important point here. The Iranian missiles that could hypothetically attack Ukraine basically have only two possible routes. One of the routes would inevitably have to cross airspace. The airspace of Turkey or Azerbaijan, where they would definitely be shot down by NATO air defense systems. Over Turkey, first and foremost. The second route is an attempt to attack Ukraine from the Caspian Sea. And there, the missile would have to cross Russian airspace. But for that to happen, Iranian ships would again have to pass by Azerbaijan. And here we come to the most important point. The thing is, all the Iranian missiles I mentioned above are ground-based missiles. The likelihood of launching these missiles from ships is minimal. And it's unlikely that Iran is ready to spend missiles on striking Ukraine right now, knowing that its ally Russia is already doing that. And here we've smoothly transitioned to Russia, which is now trying to benefit from the war in Iran. When Trump and Putin spoke on the phone this week, the Kremlin dictator suggested transferring enriched uranium as part of a war-ending agreement from Iran to Russian territory, and Trump refused Putin on this. It's important to note this isn't the first time Putin has proposed such a scenario, thinking that everyone around him is an idiot and only he is smart. The acquisition of 450 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium from Iran, which can be processed into weapons-grade uranium within a few weeks and is enough to create more than 10 nuclear bombs, is one of the key military factors. But Putin thought that these 450 kilograms, well, the officially declared 450 kilograms of enriched uranium would be handed over to him, and then he could either secretly return it to Iran or use it to make nuclear weapons. He basically says, let's take the enriched uranium and you leave Iran alone. And it's important to note that Russia made a similar proposal during the US-Iran nuclear negotiations in May of last year. This was before the US and Israel attacked Iranian nuclear facilities in June, and also a few weeks before the current war began. But fortunately, Trump doesn't fall for any of this. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. Friends, if you found this episode useful or interesting, you can support our channel with your donation or membership. Here on YouTube, all the links and details are in the description of this video. I would appreciate your support. That's all for now. Take care. Goodbye. To be continued.